Into the proceedings this afternoon. Make sure my IG is up the way it's supposed to be. All right, we're going to get into this in a minute. Video's activated, and let's let everybody get in here. As y'all are coming in, you can shout yourselves out in the comments section. Let me put my comment in here. Make sure everybody knows where to go. Text me for the daily motivation. My number is 305-384-6894. We're going to get into it in 1 minute. We got a good amount to get to here. So everybody get in, get yourself a comfortable seat, turn the volume up on whatever you are listening to this on, whatever you're listening to this with. And let's get into it. We're going to talk about 5 winning attitudes for successful individuals. We got 5. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 key winning attitudes. Pierre checking in from Paris. As y'all are checking in, shout yourselves out in the comments section. Tell me your name and location, and we're going to get to it. I'm going to give everybody like 30 seconds, and we're going to get into the deal. I usually do this at 10:30 on Thursdays, but my coaching program call ran a little bit longer than expected. Then I had an interview I need to do, so now we're doing it at 12:15. So it's usually at 10:30. So y'all can put this in your calendars. Mondays we do. Is it Monday? Tuesday 8:30. Thursday 10:30. So as y'all come in and shout yourselves out. Pierre, what's going on? 2484 D. Lou. Miami Ellie. Elizabeth checking in. Mommy Ellie checking in from New Jersey. Shout out to New Jersey. Somebody said grow braids back. No, too much work. It's easier to shave. Shaving is easier. Braids, I got to go somewhere and get them done. That means another person got to do something, and sometimes people ain't as on point as me. It's easier if I could just do it. Then it's all on me. I can do it every day from the comfort of my home. It's much easier. All right, so anyway, introducing myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete and author of 33 books. You can see some of them back there behind me. I've done 4 TED Talks, and I created this whole brand and framework called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the tools that I learned in professional sports and applying them to the business world, whether that's the strategies, the processes, the mindsets, the disciplines. And today we're going to talk about 5 keys to a winning mental attitude. These are 5 attitudes that every successful person has. I'm going to tell you exactly what they are. I'm going to tell you why they exist, and I'm going to tell you how you can apply them in your life and in your business. And by the way, my Facebook group is called 6 Figures and Growing. If you are on Facebook and you are a business-minded individual, this group is specifically for business people. So if you're in business and you are serious about growing your business, you should get in that Facebook group, because that's where these lives, you can leave comments afterwards. You can watch them later, change the speed on it, etc. So that's on Facebook. And that's also where you can learn about my coaching programs and get more information about getting on a call with me and talking about your business. I can help you with your business. And IG is IG. You already know what this is. So if you are familiar with any of my work, I have a daily masterclass. It's called Work on Your Game, where I talk about these kind of topics every single day. So any of you who's a podcast listener, my show is called a masterclass, but it's on the podcasting app. Then look me up. It's called Work on Your Game on that app. So these 5 keys I'm going to share here today. Check yourself against everything I'm going to share and make sure that you are actually following these principles, because if you are not, then what you're doing is actually costing yourself success on many levels. So I'm going to tell you what these are, why they are, and how to apply them. Number 1, we're talking 5 keys to a winning mental attitude, is that successful people are both realistic and optimistic at the same time. Realistic and optimistic at the same time. Now, what is the difference between the two? What it means is, being realistic means, the actual definition of realistic is seeing things as they are, not worse than they are, but as they are. In our society today, a lot of people use the term realistic to mean look at things as worse than they are, or to take your ambition levels and lower them down. That's not what I mean when I say being realistic. When I say being realistic, it means looking at things exactly as they are. Don't make them seem better than they are. You're looking at things through rose-colored glasses. Don't make things seem worse than they are. Meaning, don't be a pessimist and make things seem like it's doomsday just because you got one thing that's not going the way that you want it to go, or even 5 things not going the way you want it to go. It means seeing it exactly as it is. It means being objective. It It means being rational. And it means being dispassionate about the situation. You know what I mean when I say dispassionate? That means divorcing yourself from your emotions while looking at your situation. This is a challenge for many people because it's hard for us to look at our own situations without emotion because we are emotionally attached to ourselves and our own lives and our own situations. So it's hard for many of us to do. This is why you have coaches. This is why you have trainers. This is why you have uh, group programs and masterminds. This is why you get around other people because they can see your situation in a way that is not so emotionally tainted the way you would see your situation with your emotions out in front. So it's easier for somebody else to see something in your situation that you can't see because they don't have the emotional connection to it that you had. And there are many times in life that you need this. There are many people who are unable to see their situations as plainly as they need to see them simply because they can't get their emotions out of the situation. You got to be able to check your emotions at the door in many situations in life, especially when you're trying to be successful, because success does not care about your emotions and how you feel. All success cares about is the objective measure of what is actually producing the result, because we are in a performance and a results based business. So whatever's going to produce the result, that's what we need to be focused on, not how it makes you feel or if you're happy, sad, upset, frustrated, angry, whatever. All that matters is the result. So you got to be able to look at situations based on results themselves, not based on your feelings around the results. And there's a difference between the two. So that's what realistic means. Now, optimistic, on the other hand, that means looking at a situation and seeing it better than it is, seeing the possibilities of it actually getting better. And all successful people are able to look at a situation and see it better than it is because what you see, the vision that you have in your mind, usually is what you end up creating. Your optimism is an expectation. And in the long run of life, all human beings, we end up living out our expectations. So whatever you have expected of yourself for the last 5 years, that's the life that you're living right now. Whatever you are expecting of yourself right now, that's what you're going to be living 5 years from now. So if you want your life to get better 5 years from now, you're going to be living better in 2027 than you are right now, then what you need to do is change your expectations of what you think is going to happen in the future. What do you expect of yourself in the future? Do you have an optimistic outlook and view of the future of your life? Even if your life is not going great right now, even if things are going terrible right now, even if everybody you know is doing better than you right now, do you see yourself in your mind's eye? Do you see yourself getting better and improving and getting into a better space? As if you can see it in your mind, that means you can make it happen. And the longer and the more consistently you can hold a vision in your mind of a positive expectation, the higher the likelihood that you actually create that positive expectation. This is why optimism matters so much. Successful people see things as they are right now today, but they also see things as better than they are and how much better they can be tomorrow. These are two separate skills, and you need both to be a successful individual. See the situation as it is, while also knowing that you can make it better and figure out how to turn your visions into reality. And the simplest starting point for turning a vision into reality, everybody, is looking at your situation and seeing it at a higher level than it is right now. Point number 2, we are talking about 5 mental keys, 5 winning attitudes that create success with anybody. Number 2, you understand that challenges exist for one purpose and one purpose only. The only reason that you face challenges in life is for you to meet them and to overcome them. That's the only reason that you face a challenge. So the saying goes that everybody in life is either you just finished dealing with a challenge, you're in the middle of dealing with the challenge, or you're about to start dealing with the challenge. All successful people understand that the purpose of a challenge is not to make you feel bad, is not to beat you down, is not to hurt you, is not to stop your success. The purpose of the challenge is to test you, for you to step your game up and to show your skills and to show the abilities that you have to meet the challenge, overcome the challenge so that you become stronger, better, smarter. You believe in yourself more, you're a more confident individual, and you can move forward to the next level of success. Any of you play a video game? I don't play video games anymore, but back when I was in up through my college years, let's say, I played video games. And one thing I understand about how video games work is the whole purpose of it is you gotta kind of defeat whatever the challenge is in that moment so you can get to the next thing, right? Isn't that the purpose of video games? What's going on in Net? I was just recording on the Net's podcast, and Net is in here in the comments, so make sure y'all go follow her. Any of you business people looking to build and scale your business. So in a video game, I remember back in the late 80s playing Super Mario Brothers. And every video game is kind of designed the same way, is that you get to a certain level of the game, you have to defeat the challenge on that level, and when you defeat that challenge, what happens? You get to move to the next level of the game. You defeat the challenge at the second level, you move up to the third level. You defeat the third level, you move up to the fourth level, and you keep doing it until eventually, hopefully, the idea is you win the whole game by defeating every level that they have. And I guess the way video games are now, they just keep creating new levels so that you can never end the game, so that you always got to keep playing it, and that's the way to get you addicted on the game. The whole point, though, is in order to get from level 1 to level 2 to level 8 to level 12, you got to defeat whatever's at this level to get to the next level. So you got to handle this job to get to the next job. And this is the way that it works in all of life. And winners understand that every time they face a challenge in life is the same as you playing a video game and you lose or you're getting beat up by the bad guy at the end of this level. And the bad guy kills you. Now you got to start all over and fight your way back up to fighting the bad guy again. You understand that this is part of the game. It's not a negative thing. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It just means this is the way that the game is set up, is that you have to defeat the challenge here to get to the next challenge. And every time you defeat a challenge, you prove yourself to be better. You get a little bit of a reward. You move yourself up to the next level. And now you're that much stronger to deal with the next challenge that you come up against. And then you do it over and over and over again. And this is all life is. Any of you has read the book, I believe this book was The Richest Man in Babylon. Any of you have not read that book, I would suggest you go get it. Again, it's called The Richest Man in Babylon. Look the book up. And in that book, the author says that the wise man, the successful man, sees life as a series of challenges to be defeated. Whereas the man with the mind of a slave looks at life and says, well, what am I to do who is just a slave? I'm just a slave, nothing I can do. So they allow challenges to be on top of them. Whereas a successful man looks at challenges and says, well, okay, this is life. Life is supposed to be a bunch of challenges. So here's the next challenge. Let me deal with this one. Okay, I dealt with that one. There's another one coming up. Let me deal with that one. I dealt with that one. There's another one coming up. The whole point is successful people understand that life is not supposed to be a cakewalk. All right, it's not supposed to be a walk in the park. You're not supposed to have everything is just this one smooth ride where everything just goes the way that you want it to go. You're riding down the road and it's all green lights. Just every once in a while, you're going to have those moments, but all of life is not like that. All right, there are times in life you're going to face challenges. You need to expect the challenge so that when it comes up, it doesn't throw you off course. And this is the mental key right here, is understanding that the challenges are supposed to happen. So as the challenges happen, you're not thrown off by the fact that they occurred. If any of you has read, there's an author by the name of Seneca, Louis Seneca. He wrote the book called Letters from a Stoic. Well, he actually didn't actually write the book. He wrote a bunch of letters. They put it together and they called it Letters from a Stoic. He's the guy who's basically the forefather of this whole concept of Stoicism. And one of the things he says in that book is that when you expect that there will be challenges in life, when you face a challenge, you don't feel so thrown off when the fact that the challenge occurred because you knew it was coming. You say to yourself, I knew it. I knew it was going to be a challenge at some point because this is how life is supposed to be. Okay. So when you face a challenge, don't think that something's wrong. All right. There's supposed to be bugs in the system. There's supposed to be hard time. There's supposed to be long days. There's supposed to be days where you simply don't feel like being at work. This is normal. All right. Doesn't mean you did anything wrong. You just had to meet the challenge and deal with it. That's the reason that they exist, to make you better. And the fact of the matter is, if any of you just looks around at life, look around where you were 10 years ago, looking around at the people that you grew up with versus the people who you're around now, if you consider yourself a successful person or on a path of success, here's something that you'll notice. That a lot of the people who were around you 10, 15, 20 years ago, they at some point, they just stopped dealing with challenges. They just stopped being able to overcome certain challenges. So they got to a certain point where they couldn't overcome challenges past this point anymore. And that's pretty much where they stay. Think about that. Look back on your life, and I bet you will notice this, that people get to a certain point, they can't overcome any challenges past this point, and they pretty much stay at that spot. That's pretty much how it goes. That's how it goes in the corporate world. That's how it goes in business. That's how it goes in entrepreneurship. That's how it goes in sports. That's how it goes in relationships. That's how it goes in all of life. You get to a point where you can no longer overcome that challenge, and you're stuck at that spot until or unless you overcome that challenge. Life is nothing but a series of challenges to be defeated. And the old saying goes is that a person's success has a direct relationship to the size of the problem that can slow them down. So if you want to measure the measure of a man, I believe is the same. Measure of a man has a direct correlation to the size of the problem that can stop him in his tracks. So if you want to get better in life, Here's the reverse, the inverse of that. If you want to become a higher level person in life, all you need to do is deal with the challenges in front of you. And what's going to happen is you're going to just have to deal with higher quality challenges. Understanding as you move up in life and you move up in business and you make more money and you just step up your ability to perform, your ability to produce results, is not that the challenges go away, folks. What happens is you actually get higher quality problems to deal with. You don't get less problems. You just get a different set of problems, a different quality of problems. So some of you might have a problem right now of how am I going to pay my rent and make sure the lights stay on? That's a level of problem that's right here. But when you get to a higher level, then the problem might be, well, how am I going to make payroll next month? That's a higher quality problem. Then the next problem might be, well, I got all this money. Now I got people trying to sue me for some BS just because they know I got money. That's a higher level problem. Then the problem might be, all right, well, the government's trying to tax me a lot because of how much money I make. Or how can I get my accountant to protect this money so I can keep more of the money that I'm making because I'm making so much? That's a higher level problem. So every level that you go to, the problems don't go away. You just get a different set of problems. So like B.I.G. had the song back in the day, right? Mo money, mo problems. All right. So you just get a different set of problems. The problems do not go away. So this is, again, a mindset, understanding that there will always be challenges. It's just a matter of what kind of challenges do you want? Do you want low level broke people challenges, or do you want high level successful rich people challenges? What kind of challenges do you want? Because you're going to have some challenges one way or another. And the only person who doesn't have challenges is a dead person. All right. That's the only way you don't have challenges, to be dead. Point number 3. We are talking about 5 key mental attitudes for winning individuals. Number 3 is that we play to win. The number 3 mindset is that we play to win. All right. The purpose of life is to create success. All right. And we are in a performance and a results based business, meaning the people who get the most business or the most rewards are the people who create success, and the people who go out there and perform, and the people who produce results that are, whatever your results are that you're aiming for, you produce those results consistently. So we play to win, which means we have lives that are based around things like goals, outcomes, objectives, and holding yourself accountable to actually achieving those goals, outcomes, and objectives. You're not out here playing just to have fun, just to enjoy yourself, just to say that you tried, just to say that you are in the game, but you're not actually aiming to win the game. If you get in the game, the purpose of the game is to win. All right, you see that book right there behind me? It says work on your game. What's the purpose of working on your game? You work on your game so you can create an opportunity for yourself. You create an opportunity so you can go out there and perform. You perform so you can produce results. And when you produce results, what do you get? When you produce results, you get rewards, you get trophies, you get money, you get followers, you get fame, you get fans, you get whatever, you get love, you get acceptance, you get whatever it is that you want in exchange for you producing results. Because here's the thing. I said whatever it is that you want, because when you're a person who can consistently produce results, you can name your price. You tell them what you want. See, if I'm working at a job and I'm the rainmaker at that job, those of you who know what that means, the rainmaker is a person who can bring the money in at a job. So if I work at a job as a salesperson, and I'm the number 1 salesperson, I'm bringing in more money than everybody else put together every quarter, every year, every month, I can go to the bosses and say, look, now if y'all want to keep me, this is what you got to give me. All right, this is how much of a raise that I want. This is how much commission I want on every sale that I make. And I can almost dictate to them, not 100%, but I can dictate to them on a certain level. Why? Because as Brandon said there, I create a leverage because of my ability to perform. When you perform and produce results, you can name your price. This is what entrepreneurs, this is what we do every single day. Any entrepreneurs and salespeople as well, even if you work for somebody else's company, when you're consistently producing results, you name the price. You tell people what the deal is. As an entrepreneur, when you can help people achieve an outcome, you tell them, look, if you want me to help you achieve this outcome, which I know I can do because look at my results that I've done already, then look, this is how much you got to pay. And people will go find that money because they know that you can actually help them get to where they want to get to. So we play to win out here. All right. Successful people play to win. Yes, we play to have fun. Yes, we enjoy ourselves. Yes, we have a good time. Yes, we are good sports about it. And we understand that not everything we do is going to work. That doesn't mean we are okay with losing. That doesn't mean we're okay with coming up short. We play to win. So when we play and we don't get the outcome that we want, we don't just say, oh, well, it just goes that way sometimes. No, what we say is, let me find out why I didn't get the outcome that I wanted. Let me find out why this didn't work. And let me go back to the drawing board, make my adjustments, come back, and let's go at that again. Let's figure that out so we can actually make this work. That's what successful people do. You can't win if you don't get in the game trying to compete. You got to get in the game looking to compete, meaning understanding that there are other people trying to get the same outcome that you're getting. And in some aspects of life, not everybody can win. There are some aspects where everybody can win. There are some aspects where not everybody can win. So I come from the sports world. In sports, everybody can't win. In sports, there's one championship trophy at the end of the season. So if it's 20 teams in the league, one championship, that means 19 teams did not win. And they got to go back to the drawing board and figure out how do we get better so we can get closer to winning the championship next year. Because that's the reason we play, for the championship. We do not play for stats. We don't play for individual accolades. We don't play to get followers on social media. We play to win the game. So what is the win for you? All of you need to know the answer to that question. You wake up every day and you go to work. What is the win? How do you know that you won that day? This is something that in this book right here called The Mental Workbook, I talk about this. This is red book right here. Those of y'all watching on Instagram. How do you know that you won every day? If you got one thing accomplished today that would make today a success, what is it? You should know the answer to this question. Otherwise, why are you waking up every day and going to work? What are you doing? How do you know that your year was a success? How do you know that this month, today's September 29th when I'm recording this, so this month is almost over. How do you know that the month of September was a success for you? What needed to have taken place for this to be a success? If you can't answer the question, then my question to you is, are you playing to win or are you just playing to play? Are you just playing just to say you did something? Are you trying to achieve an outcome or are you just running around, doing nothing? This is a serious question that all of you need to have an answer to. And this is why I tell y'all, if you follow me on my story, every month I say this. Every single month I say, set your goals for the upcoming month. It's the end of September when I'm recording this, and it doesn't matter when this is, whenever you watch this, and then you watch it on replay. I don't care what month it is. There's always some time, right? The time is always now. Write down goals for the month. And at the end of the month, check your goals and start writing goals for the next month. And then what you need to do, eventually get to, is every single day you need to be looking at your goals. I look at my goals every day. I'm looking at my goals for the month, looking at my goals for the year. And how do I know what to do next? And I'm an entrepreneur. I make my own schedule. I got goals for the day. All right, here's what I need to do today. They're related to what I need to do this week. Those are related to what I do this month. Those are related to what I do this year. You need to have your goals laid out. All successful people have goals. People who don't have goals, we call them losers. Now, why do I call somebody a loser if they don't have goals? Because it's impossible to win without a goal. So by default, you're losing. If you're not winning, you're losing. Again, there's no neutral in the universe, folks. You're either winning or you are losing. You're getting better or you're getting worse. You're moving forward or you're moving backwards. You cannot stand still in life because the earth is literally moving at all times. So if you're standing still, you're actually going backwards, metaphorically speaking. So do you have goals in place? All successful people have goals. They are all playing to win. And winning does not mean you need to be better than your next door neighbor or better than people in your family or better than somebody else. Winning means you set your goals. You determine what the parameters for success are for you, and then you go after those. That's how you know you're winning. So if you don't have goals, it's impossible to be winning because you have nothing to aim for. All successful people are aiming at something. Number 4. We're talking 5 key winning mental attitudes. Number 4, self-determinism. What does this mean? Self-determinism means you take full ownership of your outcomes in life. You take full ownership of your station in life, your position in life, where things are for you in life, whether things are going the way you want them to go. If they're not going the way you want them to go, or it's somewhere in between, you take full ownership of the situation, even when the situation is not necessarily your fault. So listen, I get it. Your parents were drug addicts, or you came from the hood, or your family didn't set you up with money, or you had a bunch of losers in your neighborhood back in the day, or nobody taught you, some principles of success that you're now just learning and you're 30 years old. And your peers in your industry, they know this stuff since they were 10 because their parents taught them the stuff and their parents were buying them books and you didn't have any of that. You still take ownership of your situation. You take ownership of the fact that, okay, I didn't start off with as much forward momentum as some of these other people. But you know what? Now that I know about it and now that I know what I need to do for myself, I'm going to take ownership of the situation that I'm in and I'm going to get myself to the position that I want to be in. Even though I don't have the same situation as him over here or her over there or those people back there, I'm going to take ownership of my own situation and I'm going to put myself into the position that I want to be in because now that I'm aware of it, I'm responsible for it. That's what self-determinism is. Self-determinism means taking 100% ownership of yourself and your situation, even if the situation that you're in is not 100% of your doing or your fault. And the only people who are even eligible to become successful in life are people who have a high level of self-determinism because they take ownership. See, if you want to have power in life, and everybody in life wants power. Our power is your ability to influence circumstance. If you want power, you must take ownership and you must take responsibility. You cannot be a powerful person without taking responsibility and ownership. Power is the ability to influence situations. You can't influence something if you're not responsible for it. You can't stand in the back and stand on the sidelines and have influence over something. You want to be influential over something, you got to get in the game. And when you get in the game, that means you're responsible for what happens in the game. So that means if the game doesn't work out the way you wanted it to, you're responsible for it. Take ownership. And when the game does work out, you're responsible for that too. You get all the praise and you get the rewards and you get whatever comes with that. Again, you name your price, but you can create outcomes. Self-determinism means own your outcomes because that's what you can control. All winning people know, as we all do, that you can't control everything in life. All right. 99% of what occurs in your life is outside of your control. 99% is outside of your control. So I'm here in Miami, and we all know, those of you who follow the news all week, they've been talking about this hurricane or tropical storm, whatever it is, coming through the state of Florida. We got a little bit of rain 2 days ago, some rain yesterday. Today it didn't even rain at all. Like, it's sunny outside right now. But I had no control over that. What if the hurricane came straight here and it was like we got 3 feet of rain flooding, I can't even go outside. I don't have control over whatever way it ended up. I have no control over it. I got neighbors to my left, neighbors to my right, neighbors upstairs, neighbors downstairs. What if one of them is loud and making noise and they always playing music all day? I have no control over that. I can't control any of that. I can't control what any other human on this planet does. I can't control what any of you say in the comments. I can't control anything other than myself. The only thing I control is me and the way that I think about my circumstances and situations. That's the 1% of life that each of you has control over. The most successful people accept the fact that they don't control 99% of life, but they take full control over the 1% that they do have control over. They take full ownership of the 1% that they do control. Whereas unsuccessful and average people, they say, well, damn, I only control 1% of life. I might as well, what's 1%? 1% is nothing. I might as well just do nothing and just have no control over anything in life. And they just do nothing. That's what average and unsuccessful people do. And most people, by the way, just in case y'all didn't know, most people are either average or unsuccessful. They're average and below. Most people. That's why the average is the average. There's only a small amount of people who are in the top percentage. It's like a pyramid. Everybody knows what a pyramid looks like, right? All right, so there's a few people at the top of the pyramid, and there's a whole bunch of people at the bottom of the pyramid. Most people look at that equation that I just gave you, that they don't control 99% of life, and they just basically quit on the 1% that they do control and do nothing, and they let life have its way with them, and they basically end up wherever life decides to put them. These are the people who are always whining, complaining, bitching about what they can't control, what somebody else did, what somebody else has, what somebody else didn't do for them, what happened to somebody else somewhere else that has nothing to do with them. They're always talking about the externalities. This is what I call this. You know what an externality is? That means anything that is not under your control is an externality. It means things that are not your fault and you don't have control over them, but you're so focused on them that you don't focus on the internalities, which are the things you can control. And by the way, there's always one thing and one thing only that you always have control over. It is your mental attitude. That's why this presentation right here is titled 5 Winning Attitudes. You always control your attitude. Sometimes you can't even control your own body. All right, any of you who play sports, or any of you ever had any kind of like sickness or disease, or you ever had an injury, there might have been times where you couldn't even control your own body. I can't even, like right now, I got a calf some muscle soreness. I can't even run the way that I want to run. So I get ready for these 10Ks I'm going to win in November, but I can still control my mindset. Right? You can't always control your body. You can always control your mind. As long as you're old enough to understand what I'm talking about, which I think most of you are. So do you have the self-determinism that says, I'm going to take control over what I can control, which is me, myself, and I. That's what you control. So even if you have some losers around you, you got some negative people at your job, you got some unfair situation happening in your community, you come from a family of average thinking people, and they don't want to see you be successful, and they mock you for trying to do successful stuff, like you're going to conferences and you're reading books and you're signing up for courses, and they're looking at you like, yo, what are you doing? That ain't gonna do anything. And they're laughing at you for even trying to do this stuff. Do you take control over the 1% that you can control? Because you can't control them. You can't control what somebody else thinks or what somebody else says or what somebody else comments. You can't control that. All you can control is you. The most successful people have a super high level of understanding of what I just said, and they live it out every single day. That's why they don't get thrown off when something that's out of their control happens. So you're driving, somebody rear ends you. It's not your fault, but you take ownership of what you can't control. You're posting and somebody's leaving a negative comment. Not your fault, but you take control of it. All right, there's terrible weather. And now you can't go outside. You can't have your picnic. Your event got canceled. All right, your flight got delayed. You can't control any of that. Do you control your mindset around the situation? That's the question. Winners understand that. We take ownership of the situation and assume full control over what we can. All right. They decide that they will determine their outcomes. This is what successful people do. That I don't control all these things that are getting in the way of what I want to do, but I'm still the owner of my decided outcome. If I decide that my outcome is this is how I win, and all these things are getting in the way of me winning, the goal of me winning didn't change. I might have to change my approach because of all these things that I don't control, but my goal is still to win. So that means I might need to take a detour. I might need to go a different route. I might need to speed up. I might need to slow down. I might need to change this up. I might need to swap this person out and put this person in. I might need to get a new approach. But my goal to win is still the goal to win, because successful people play to win. And we don't change our goal of winning just because the situation got harder. We just figure out how we're going to make it work. Okay, it's not going to be as easy as it was yesterday, but the goal to win does not change. That's how successful people think, and we think like this by default, folks. So this is not something that you remember. Oh yeah, you know what? I got to think like a successful person and remember that I'm playing to win. You shouldn't have to remind yourself of this. You got to remind yourself of it. You haven't conditioned your mind properly yet, which means you need to read this book right here called The Mental Workbook. You can get this by going to workonmygame.com/workbook. I'll put a link to that right here in the chat for those of you who don't have that book. But this book is all about conditioning your mind for thinking like a successful person. Workonmygame.com/work. That's what this book is. It's mental conditioning. This is the first chapter of this book right here. It's called Cardio for Your Mind. All right, everybody knows what cardio is. Cardio is like when you do, cardiovascular exercise, like running or riding a bike or whatever, swimming, something you do to get your heart rate up, and it makes your heart stronger and it gives you better wind, makes your lungs stronger. What's the purpose of cardio? So a lot of people think the purpose of cardio is that if you do enough of it, you won't ever get physically tired. That's not true. The purpose of cardio is not that you won't ever get tired. The purpose of cardio is, and I'm relating this to mentality. The purpose of cardio is that when you do feel fatigue, i.e. when you do have a bad day or something does go the way that you don't want it to go, when somebody does disappoint you or you do have some unexpected, unwanted circumstance, it's how quickly do you recover and get back to what you were doing. That's what good cardio does. So you look at somebody like NBA training camps just started this week. So LeBron James, he's in good physical shape, right? LeBron James still gets tired if you make him run up and down the court a bunch of times. The thing is, because he's in good shape, he only needs 15 seconds of recovery before he can run full speed all over again. Whereas somebody who's not in shape, they might need 15 minutes of recovery or 15 days of recovery before they can run again. That's what cardio is. Purpose of being mentally conditioned properly, like I talk about in this book, is how quickly do you get over it when something doesn't go your way. Some of you, it takes you a year to get over something. Some people, they're still complaining and using as an excuse something that happened to them 5 years ago. And other people, they only need 5 minutes. Something doesn't go their way. They're mad about it. They get annoyed about it, but they only annoyed for like 30 seconds and they get right back to their business. That's what successful people do. It's a measure of how long does it take you to get over the nonsense when the nonsense happens. Because I guarantee you some nonsense is going to happen in your life. Something that you didn't want, that you don't control, that you can't change, but it gets in your way. How long do you let it slow you down? That's self-determinism. Point number 5, right? The last one. We're talking 5 winning mental attitudes for those who came in the middle of me talking. Number 5, every day counts. Every day counts and everything you do counts. The bottom line, though, is the overall race. The bottom line of the game is what happens in the overall race. So yes, every day what happens matters. Everything adds up. We know this. But the bottom line and what matters the most, what we're really going to count, is how does the overall race go? Because sometimes in the process of your life, like everybody here who's watching this, right, everybody here has bad days, slow days, frustrating moments, times when you can't do the things that you want to do. You're running your business, you launched the product and it didn't sell. You put your book out and nobody's interested in reading it. You're putting your stuff on social media. You're not getting any likes. Nobody's engaging with your posts. We all have those times that things don't go the way that we want them to go. But what matters in the long run is the big picture game. So yes, you're going to have some of those days where things don't go the way you want it. But let's see, how do you end up in the big picture? Like I just told you, like my calf muscles bother me. I can't really run the way I want, so I can't train the way I want. So right now, I'm not in the kind of game shape I want to be in to win this next 10K that I'm going to do. But in the big picture, what matters here is what happens by the time that race day comes around. That's what I'm thinking about. So yeah, it's annoying that I can't train the way I want today, but the big picture is I got to be ready on that race day. And if I win the race on race day, then it doesn't matter really that I didn't get to train the way I wanted to today. No, it doesn't matter because the big picture is the real game. So you got to keep your mind on the big picture and where you want to go long term in what you're doing. So what is the long-term vision? Do you even have one? Is the question, actually. Do you even have a long-term vision? Do you know where you're going long-term? Do you know where you want to be 5 years from now? Do you know where you want to be 1 year from now? I was just on the phone yesterday with my guy I met. I was at a conference last week, and I actually already know this guy, but we were talking, and he was like, Dre, why don't we just get on the phone every week and just hold each other accountable? Let's talk about what we're working on for the next year. And then we're going to tell each other what we're going to do in the next week. And then every week we're going to hold each other accountable for what we said we were going to do over the week. If we don't do it, we're going to get on each other's ass about it. Then we're going to set goals for the next week. And every week we're going to get on a call. And it's a quick call, like 15 minutes. Get on the call. All right, what are your 3 things? What are my 3 things? Let's write them down. All right, you need help with something? You need help with something? Are you good? I'm good. All right, cool. Hang up. We go to work. Next week we get on the call and we check each other. Like, what did you do your stuff? Did you do your stuff? Why didn't you do that? What's the holdup? What's the problem? Let's go. And that's holding each other accountable because we have long-term goals and the short-term goals fit into the long-term goals. So do you know where you want to be a year from now? You know where you want to be 5 years from now? And are your goals, are the things you're doing today working into the big picture of where you want to be tomorrow? Successful people think like this. Again, you think like this naturally. Now, if you are not naturally thinking like this right now, then read this book that I just told you about. I put the link, workonmygame.com/workbook. That's what that book is all about, setting your long-term goals in life. And I break down how they work into your short-term everyday goals. Winners make the most of every day and opportunity while at the same time understanding that the overall race is what matters the most. All right, so in the season, again, basketball season just started. Football season as well, but basketball is a better example because they got more games. Basketball season is 82 games. So are there going to be nights when your favorite player doesn't have a great game? Yes, there are going to be nights when your favorite player doesn't play that great. But in the big picture, your favorite player, assuming that they're actually good, in the big picture, they're going to have a good season. They might have a couple of nights where it doesn't go great, but overall, you look at the averages, they're going to have a good season. Why? Because a good player is going to have most of the time, going to have a good game. That's the way that it works. So you might have that night when you only had 10 points. But if you're the leading scorer in the league, most nights you're going to have about 30, right? Because that's the average of what you're going to end up doing. Because good players in the big picture perform. And remember that we're in a performance and results-based business. So I've never seen an NBA team win every game in the season. Nobody's ever done it. The most was the Warriors. They won, 73 games, and they didn't even win the championship. The Bulls won 72 games. Was it 72? Yeah, 72 games or 70 games, whatever number of games they won. They won the championship that year. They didn't win every game. All right, so every team has nights when things don't go right. You're going to have times when you don't win the game, so to speak, that day. But do you win? Can you win in the whole season? That's really what you need to be measuring, because we're playing for the championship. You're not playing for every single night. You're playing for the championship, but every night builds to the championship. Everybody got me? So somebody got a question about anything that I just said, put it in the comments right now. I'm going to recap these 5 points. We're talking 5 keys to a winning mental attitude. 5 keys. Number 1, you are realistic and optimistic at the same time. That means you see the situation as it is, but you also see it with the potential to be better than it is. That's your expectation, and successful people always have positive, forward-thinking expectations for the future. Number 2, challenges exist for the purpose of challenging you to meet them. That's the purpose of a challenge, is that you meet it, you deal with it, you get better and stronger so that you can deal with the next challenge. Just like playing a video game, you beat the first level. Now you got to get to the second level. It's a little bit harder. The next level is a little bit harder. Every level is a little bit harder, but it makes you a little bit better to go up against it so that you're ready for the next challenge. Life is nothing but a series of challenges to be met and defeated. So when you're facing challenges, don't think that means something's wrong with life. That means it's working. If you're facing challenges, it's going exactly how it's supposed to go. When you don't have any challenges whatsoever, that means you're dead. Number 3, we play to win. Successful people play to win. And when I say play to win, that does not mean you need to be better than the next man or the next woman. Playing to win means you set goals for yourself and you are working to achieve them consistently. That's what winning means. It means you have a goal and you are working towards it. It has nothing to do with other people. It's about you. If you don't have goals, you cannot be a winner, which means by default, you are a loser because you have nothing to win. If you don't have a goal to hit, then you can't win. You're a loser. So if you want to be a winner, set goals and start working to achieve them. Number 4, self-determinism. Successful people determine their outcomes, regardless of how they ended up in a certain situation, even if it wasn't your fault. It's the fault of your community, your neighborhood, because you're a certain color, because you're from a certain country, because you're a certain religion, because of where you're from, because your parents were this or that. You didn't get this opportunity that this other person got. Successful people take ownership of their situation and determine that they will be successful regardless of their circumstances. That's what successful people do. Whereas unsuccessful people blame their circumstances and then they do nothing because they believe that the circumstance is stronger than they are. In other words, they're victims. Successful people believe they are stronger than the circumstance. And you have to choose which one are you. Who's stronger, you or the circumstance? That is what self-determinism, that's the question of self-determinism. And number 5, every day counts, but the big picture, overall race is what matters the most. So while you want to be great every day, there will be days where things simply just don't go the way you want them to. It's like if you play basketball, you want every shot to go in, but sometimes you're going to miss. Sometimes you're going to get your shot blocked. Sometimes you might shoot an air ball. Sometimes somebody might steal the ball from you. Sometimes you just won't get the ball. Sometimes that happens. But in the big picture, can you win the game? And in the bigger picture, can you win the championship? That's the big goal that you're trying to go after, is winning the championship in the overall race. Is not just winning every single day. It's winning the overall race. Rosie over there on Facebook, I'll put a link to my book, The Mental Workbook, which is this book. I don't think y'all can see this. Yeah. So Rosie, this book right here, The Mental Workbook. That's the book that you need to get that will help you establish goals. I'll put a link after I get done with this live. So anybody else has a question, put it in the comment section. I'll address it right now. I just recapped the 5 points we were talking here today. For those who came in the middle of my talking, it's 5 keys to a winning mental attitude. All right. So 89 Net says, if you can't get your daily goals done, should you add them to the next day or reset? Yes, I would add them to the next day. The thing is, if you continually are not hitting your daily goals, that means you're probably putting too much on your plate. In other words, you're setting goals to do like 20 things, but you're only capable of doing 10. So what you need to do is readjust your goals so that you stop trying to put 10 things on your list and instead of putting 20 things on your list, put 10 things on your list. And how you decide which 10, you have to prioritize. So you need to get strategic about how you're setting your goals. Don't just set goals like you need to be Superman to achieve them all. Set goals that you can actually hit. A guy named Alex Sharfin talked about pulling your goals closer. I like that concept. So instead of trying to hit 20 things, try to hit 10. Set yourself up you want to set up a culture of winning, a culture of success. And culture, ladies and gentlemen, is not just about a group of people. Culture is also you individually. I have a podcast episode coming up very soon about establishing your personal culture. Your culture for you, yourself as an individual. You have a culture. Your family has a culture. The company you work for has a culture. The community you live in has a culture. So there are these subcultures, but you personally have to set your own culture of being a successful individual. And you got to set yourself up for success by strategically positioning yourself to win. Sometimes people set themselves up to lose and then you feel bad about yourself, but it's because of poor strategy. Your mechanics are off. So when your mechanics are wrong, you set yourself up to lose. So that's a good question. 89 that you just need to change your mechanics and the way you're approaching your goals. Flip says, any book recommendations on time management? Yes, that's a good question. I would suggest you get this book right here. It's called 25 Hours. Subtitle, How to Control Your Time and Maximize Productivity So You Can Stop Being Inconsistent and Wasting Your Life. This is actually a course, but I offer the manual to go with the course. You can get this by going to workonyourgame.com/time, TIME. I'll put a link in the comments here. It's workonyourgame.com/time is the link to, that's my time control course, not time management. I don't like calling it time management because there's nothing to manage. All right, time is, you get 24 hours in a day. There's nothing to manage. It's the same amount every day. It's just a matter of how you're using it. So are you controlling the time that you have, which is 24 hours? That's at work on your game, workonyourgame.com/time. That's my time control course. It's called 25 hours. Rosie, for the book, I'm gonna put the comment over here on Facebook. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. So Rosie, I just put that comment there. Is workonmygame.com/workbook for the mental workbook. That's the book you asked about. Let's see who we got. Always Training says, will videos from Work on Your Game Live be available for purchase if we didn't make it? Always Training, I'm actually launching a new coaching program for business builders. So that Work on Your Game Live, that's the one that I did back in May. That was one of my live events, by the way, for people asking or people wondering. That training is going to be that's going to be in the membership area for anyone who's in my new coaching program. So if you're interested in that coaching program, Always Training, go to workonyourgame.net/apply. I got a lot of links. workonyourgame.net/apply. I'm going to put that link in here as well. And you can schedule a call with me. So schedule a call with me and I'll tell you about my new coaching program. I secured some financing programs for that as well. So any of you who might not be able to invest in like high ticket coaching programs up front, like a big lump sum payment, I worked it out to where you can pay monthly. We can get monthly payments for all of you. So even if you can't put a big cash outlay up front of thousands of dollars, I got a way that you can get a monthly payment that's lower, much lower, like less than $1,000 a month, and you can still work with me directly. So go to that link. That's workonyourgame.net/apply. I got a lot of links. I got Work on My Game, workonyourgame.com, workonyourgame.net. Got a lot of links. But any link that any of you missed or forgot, just send me a DM and I'll send it to you directly. Or text me. My number is 305-384-6894. Mommy Ellie, I appreciate you. Thank you. Let's see. All right, Philip, I appreciate it. All right, anybody else got a question? I don't see any other questions coming through. So everybody, I do these lives. I usually do at least 2 lives a week. So I do every Tuesday at 8:30 and every Thursday at 10:30. This one just got moved because some stuff got pushed back today. But usually it's Tuesday and Thursday that I do these lives. Sometimes I do a live on the weekend. But if y'all like what you heard today, everybody listen, if you like what you heard today, I have a show called Work on Your Game. It's on the podcasting apps. I'm going to pull it up so everybody can see it. It's called Work on Your Game. It comes out every day. It's just me talking. So I know a lot of people who do podcasts, they have like guests on their show and they're interviewing people. Mine is a little bit different. It's just me talking. So if y'all like what you heard today, look up this show right here. It's called Work on Your Game. I'm showing you the Apple version, but it's also on Spotify. It's also on SoundCloud. It's also on Google Play and all that. Y'all know how to find podcasts. I don't have to explain this to y'all. So just look up this show. It's called Work on Your Game. It comes out every single day. As you can see, mindset, mental toughness, discipline, and confidence. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, look this show up right here. It's called Work on Your Game. It's on all the podcasting apps. This comes out every single day. My show has over 2,300 episodes, and I'm going to tell you that you won't be the only person listening to this show. So just so far today, we've been listened to 10,000 times just today. We got 10,000 listeners today. 10,000 listeners. In the last 12 months, 2,400,000 listeners in the last 12 months of the show. I'm showing you the stats right here, right off SoundCloud. You see that number in the black? 2,400,000 listeners in the last 12 months. So if you are not listening to the show, you're actually in a minority if you're not listening to the show. This month, we've done over 250,000 listens. Last month, we did 265,000. There's only 2 more days left in the month. So we might catch last month, we might not. But in the last 12 months, 2.4 million listeners. My show is called Work on Your Game. It is the best content on the internet. All right. So if I had to drop all the places that I post and I can only post one place, it would be that show right there called Work on Your Game. Every single day, free of charge. I call my show a masterclass, but it's on the podcasting app. So mine is more than a podcast. It's a masterclass. So it's just me every day giving you the straight game. It's about 20 to 30 minutes every day. So if you like what you just heard, then you will love that show. Everybody got it? All right, everybody. So any of you got a question on anything that I said here that you missed, you can send me a text at my number, which is right there. I send out a daily motivation text for free to everybody's phone every single morning. Anybody here get my daily motivation? If you get my daily motivation, you can ask somebody or you can just text me. You get my daily motivation for free every single day. You can actually text with me because I do respond to people's texts. on that at that number right there. And anything else I missed, you can send me a DM or a private message on Facebook or a DM on Instagram. All right, everybody, I got a call coming up in 10 minutes that I need to be on. So y'all have a great afternoon. We out of here. Appreciate your time. Work on your game.